Welcome back to What's Out There. I'm Danielle Lima, and today our special guest has been in the voice business for 30 years. He started as a talent in radio at 19 years old in Dallas, Texas. He's been dubbing since the mid-90s and haven't stopped. He's a bilingual talent, so he works for Portuguese and English. His name is Alex Teixeira, or Alex Teixeira, let me call him. Hi, Alex.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Well, under the circumstances.
I'm really, really happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much for accepting.
Thank you.
I know you have a long career. When did it start? How did you end up being a voice actor?
Well, when I was a kid, I used to listen to talk radio. I also wanted to be an actor. I loved movies. I grew up in Los Angeles, so it was part of my growing up, movies and television and all that kind of stuff. I used to listen to Larry King and, other people back in the day, when I was a kid. I was in school. I got involved in theater. When I was 19, my dad came home with a little ad from a broadcasting school that he happened to have seen. He knew I wanted to do radio and stuff. So we went, and the guy who taught the class was an older guy, but he had a lot of radio experience. So I started taking the class. I was going to college during the day, and at night I would go to broadcasting, radio and TV broadcasting school. And back then you needed an FCC license to be on the air. So part of the class was the process of getting that license. And there was a board that had available jobs. So then when I was done with the class and I was FCC licensed to be on the air, I looked for a job, and I got a job just outside of Dallas. It was great. And that's how it started for me.
I always like to say that for you to be a voice actor, you need to first be an actor.
The way I got to dubbing was, years after that, because I worked in radio and I was doing acting. I think it was, early 90s, mid 90s, around there. My brother got married, and I read a piece from Khalil Gibran at his wedding. And there was somebody from the Discovery Channel that happened to be a guest. So afterwards, This person came looking for me and said, wow, I liked how you read and stuff. So from radio, I made that transition to doing voiceover work. And then from voiceover work, right around that time, the mid 90s, I had an opportunity to dub.
Yeah, and you work for Portuguese too, right? And you told me about your experience going back to Brazil and working on radio in Brazil. And I wanted to know, how was that? How was the language for you? What was your age when you moved to the US?
Well, I was 5, and my dad was an international banker. So he was going back to Brazil, and the radio station that I had gotten a job in at 19, they were doing some cuts after a few months. And of course, being the youngest guy there, they let me go with an amazing recommendation letter that I used for probably a decade and a half, to get me other jobs. So my dad was going, and I thought, well, he was going to be in Brazil for a couple of years. And I thought, well, maybe I'll go down there, And then there was an opportunity to work in radio there. But my Portuguese was a bit shaky because I grew up here. I spoke Portuguese, but I grew up here. This was like in the late 80s, So at that time, things weren't globalized yet. So me coming from the U.S. With radio experience, they listened to my demos. The guy says, look, we want you to work here. My Portuguese is shaky. And the guy says, just come and sit here and just read for me all day. And he would correct my Portuguese. And then they put me on late at night. And then they brought me in to an afternoon spot. And then I went to a morning spot. And then I came back to the U.S. That really helped my Portuguese, though. So when I came back, I was, and I had some opportunities to do some work in Portuguese. I didn't have a problem with it, So I speak, Portuguese fluently, so I can do both. I can work in both languages, which helps, helps a lot.
And what do you prefer? You prefer voiceover or dubbing?
I enjoy dubbing a lot, but I also love doing the voiceover work, the commercial work. the narrations. I recently did a narration for the History Channel for World War II series, and I really enjoyed doing that.
World War II Race to Victory, a mini-series event, concludes Sunday at 9 on History.
What are the main differences between dubbing and voiceover narration for you?
Commercial work and narration for me, I think it comes more naturally. I mean, it's easier for me to do. With dubbing, you have a certain amount of focus and concentration while you're doing it, and it's longer too.
Yeah.
So I'll have a session that's 3 hours long or 4 hours long. Of course, we take breaks, and you know this because you do this as well. So we have these long sessions. So it requires a lot of concentration and attention.
I think when you're narrating, at least you have a character, but it's not as in dubbing, because in dubbing you gotta copy someone else that is doing that already. Yes, more of your actor side, maybe. You bring
Absolutely.
back theater. Yeah.
Well, it certainly helps. It certainly helps because the character may have a certain attitude in his face, and your voice has to match that.
Cheerwald, we're in this together, damn it. Norway's future's lying there, and it's your fault we're here in the first place.
Coming from a radio background, doing the voiceover stuff and the narrations, it just seems like it just comes more naturally.
The Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons were just the beginning. Join Dr. Robert Langdon as he follows the clues in order to save the world from a deadly plague that could lead to the extinction of the human race. Inferno, soon in theaters.
Most of the time, I don't even feel like I work.
I see a lot of people writing and asking me, how do you make a living out of voice acting and voice career?
If you can generate contacts, make friends, that are in the business, learn as much as you can. When you go to a place like that, it's like my friend David Quiet, and David.
Yes.
I hope you find your paradise.
David wisely said, you always try to make other people's work easier for them. If you have the confidence is important, especially if you have clients present, because clients don't want to see anybody nervous. Some way, somehow, you'll get through the session, right? Now,
you have to.
I don't get nervous. For a long time now, I don't get it, but I used to. I've had experiences where I've heard talent arguing with directors, or don't argue with the director. If the director, depends on what the director's requesting. But under normal circumstances, most directors will tell you, okay, yeah, can you do that line again? I'd like a little more. A little more anger there, or maybe a little softer there towards the end of that sentence, or whatever. And then exactly what you need to do, and then you go and do it. So keep that in mind when you go into a job, whether it's a commercial or anything, even film acting, right?
Yes.
Because when Robert De Niro goes on stage, the director doesn't go off to lunch.
No.
The director stays there because even though it's Robert De Niro, I might go to lunch if I'm directing a film and Robert De Niro is there, because what the hell am I going to tell him? I think everybody can dub, but with experience, everybody can do a very good job. If you're inclined, obviously, if you're interested in acting and interested in doing those things.
It's believing in the process. You're not going to get inside of the booth the first time and do an amazing job and everything is going to be easy. Start with little characters, with little parts, and then you're going to grow to something bigger eventually.
You do some teaching. You teach dubbing, right? Isn't that
yes,
so,
to kids.
Right. So those, I'm sure, things that you talk about. But kids are probably, well, not probably, but kids will probably go into a booth and do less thinking and more feeling, with what they're doing than adults, right?
It depends on the age, because if you get a kid that they are around, I don't know, 7 to 10 years, they kind of more jump to it. They just do it. They don't even know what is happening, but you tell them, just do it. They do it. I think once they cross that age, they become really self-conscious.
Yeah.
because they're not kids anymore. And sometimes it's hard to take them from that place of
Mhm.
being self-conscious and not wanting to make any mistake, wanting to
Mhm.
be perfect at the first time, and I tell them, just relax. That's
Yeah.
why we're here. If you do a mistake, I'm just gonna do another take.
Whoever the team is, they're never going to think bad of you or anything negative with you trying something.
Yeah, but can I tell you something really funny? I don't get uncomfortable easily, like doing scenes and etc. But always when it's like a love scene or a kissing scene, I
Uh,
know the director is not looking at me. I know, like, he doesn't care. He's just focusing on what I'm doing with my voice and if my voice is fitting the character. But I think I blush so much.
it's weird.
So
Yeah.
much that I feel myself like getting hot and red. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
You know,
My God, I've been
I
doing
feel
this for
still.
so long and I'm still getting shy. And so don't worry, those feelings they're humans, you are human. So it's okay to feel that. You just gotta get over it and do it anyway. I remember my first makeout scene, I think was with Rafael,
Mm,
and was like my first scene kissing someone like in dubbing. And
yeah.
I think I made such a weird sound that he stopped. He was like looking at the TV. He looked at me. He was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
But
I
that's,
don't know.
yeah. But that's good, because you feel more as an artist, as a
Yeah,
performer.
yeah, yeah.
You feel more at ease just doing whatever you think you need to do. Of course, if they want to give you direction, you take their direction, for a
Yeah.
particular scene or whatever. Usually the director will tell you about characters and all that. But um, for me, it's very helpful. I feel like I can do anything. And then if, especially if I trust the director, I don't even have to worry about it. They'll let me know if it was awful or if
Yeah,
it
they
wasn't,
will.
like with a cartoon voice. Sometimes they'll say, do it this way or do it a little more this way. They know how to tweak
Yeah, yeah.
what is coming through to them over there. And so I just do whatever I feel is correct. And then, yeah, I trust them to tell me.
Desde quando veste calças no projetor?
Calças no projetor?
Porque o seu... esquece. Quer carona? Vou pra lá. A Catherine está... como?
What was the hardest character that you've ever dubbed?
I did the lead character in this novella, and this guy was constantly drunk. It was very tough to do. It almost seems like he was improvising in all these shows, even in
Oh my
movies. There's
God.
always a little bit of improvising going on and stuff. And those are moments where, when there's a president, for instance, in a movie speaking, that's not hard to dub.
No.
But when there's a couple arguing, that's sometimes hard to dub because there's a lot of little things that are not scripted, and the person will make a noise or they'll say certain things or mumble or, if you get a bad actor in a movie or a soap opera, you get the chance of actually improving the delivery,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But when you get a really good actor, you got to step up. You really have
Yes.
to step up. You got to try to do, it's like trying to dub,
Do it justice.
Al
Yeah.
Pacino, I mean, that's tough to do,
Oof.
you know?
If you could dub any actor,
Mm.
which actor would be a challenge? I really would love to have my voice in that guy.
I would be interested in dubbing somebody like Al Pacino or I would love to dub like a James Bond. That might be fun, Daniel Craig and James Bond. That would be fun. I've done one of the great Brazilian actor, Tony Ramos. I dubbed him
Oh,
to
really?
English.
I
Yeah.
love Tony Ramos.
Yeah, I dubbed him in a Brazilian novella, but into English.
I'm the one who will decide that. I'm not a child anymore. Figurate, huh? I'm a grown man.
Would you go back to radio if you had the opportunity?
Some years ago, I thought of going back to radio. No, I think today, if I were to do something like that, I would do a podcast.
A podcast?
I wouldn't go necessarily back into radio in that sense, but I'm involved with a couple of things, so we'll see what happens. And I hope that I, maybe shared something that could help somebody with dubbing. I mean, basically though, contacts, everybody says that. That's
Yes.
nothing new, but opportunities. by reading at my brother's wedding. I was, I don't know, so the more you can get out there, and do things, the more exposure, maybe record some YouTube stuff. I don't know. Do whatever you can do to get yourself out there.
I think it's a lot about expressing our art. Just do it.
But there's a lot of professional actors dubbing. So what you said earlier, acting absolutely helps if you're going to dub. Absolutely.
When I started teaching for the kids, I told them, look, first of all, to be a voice actor, you got to be an actor. So I'm going to bring you guys back to the basics, Mm-hmm. We're going to learn improv. We're going to learn cold read. We're going to learn how to write.
Cold read is very important.
Cold read is very important because sometimes you have that one shot of reading the script to someone and you just got to know how to do it. It's not really hard. You just got to know and practice that a little bit and learning a little bit of writing. I think that's what you said, everything adds up. Mm-hmm. If you know everything within your field, if you are able to get different aspects of it, it's just, it just, once you're there in front of the mic, just all the background just comes.
It just comes to
organic.
You. Yeah. Hey, those kids are in good hands if they're studying with you. So.
Thanks, Alex.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was really fun. And you, thanks for being here with us. I see you on the next episode of What's Up There. Bye.